whole family for a delicious meal, Pomodoros of Mooresville has the perfect space for your crowd. Book your next event at pomodoros.com.
The following is a paid program and does not necessarily reflect the views of WSIC.
It's 11:06 on WSIC News Radio, and you're listening to We're Just Saying with Senator Vicki Sawyer and David. Like to be part of the show, 844-STUDIO-4. We are streaming live on the WSIC News app. And Senator, we're going to do something we haven't done before. We're going straight to the phones for a very special guest.
We have the most special guest. Like, I'm fangirling right now. Extremely nervous, excited, and I'm very proud of you. You actually nailed the intro when we had a national celebrity coming on the show.
You know what? I bring my A game when it counts.
You do.
I bring my A game when it counts.
So who do we have coming on?
We have National Republican Committee co-chair Lara Trump with us. She's in Iredell County. Madam Chairwoman, how are you today?
Morning. I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me.
Well, thank you so much for so many things, but for definitely being in Mooresville and being at the Lake Norman Fire Department and the War Memorial Building, greeting voters in some of the heaviest turnout in North Carolina at those two voting locations for Republicans, and really says a testament to what you and Chairman Michael Whatley have done all across the United States and how hard you continue to work to turn out the vote.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, and this is so important. You know, that's how we're going to win this election. People have been listening to what we've been saying. I have felt like quite a broken record over the past several months, telling people to go vote early, go vote early. But everybody has obviously understood the importance of it because, listen, the reality is if we all waited until Election Day, we all know how long those lines can be. You have weather situations. I have two young kids. Believe me, I know better than anyone that things pop up last second and life ultimately happens, and you want to make sure you get your vote banked and make sure that it's already done, and then you can use your time to encourage other people to get out and vote. So we've been really proud of the turnout, especially in North Carolina, and I know that I probably don't have to tell you guys this is my home state. I was passed by my father-in-law in 2016 with winning North Carolina. I delivered then, we delivered again in 2020, and I certainly intend to deliver again in 2024. So thank you to everybody who's already voted early. If you haven't, please get out and vote.
Well, I hope that this all I mean, obviously, you said 2016, 2020 delivered for President Trump. I hope that when you do it again this year, I hope that translates to a very nice Christmas gift for you because he owes you big delivering North Carolina for him 3 straight times.
I'll make sure I tell him that.
Yeah. But Larry, you also have done something. It's not just this last, couple months of election. You and Chairman Whatley have really focused hard on making it easy to vote and hard to cheat. And so I'd love to hear you talk about your recruiting efforts across America to get, 250,000 volunteers to observe at the polls or to work at the polling locations. Can you tell our listeners why and how hard you've been working about making sure that we have the best election this year?
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, we cannot repeat the mistakes of the 2020 election ever. That was such an unfortunate time, and there were so many people who were left with a lot of big questions about what happened and really got no answers. And it lent itself to people not having full faith and trust in our electoral process and in our system. And that is foundational to who we are as a country. We have to trust the system. And so whenever Chairman Whatley and I took over at the RNC in March of this year, we said, all right, what is it that we're going to do to ensure victory on November 5th? And we said we have to do 2 things. We have to get out the vote and we have to protect the ballot. And so we obviously have the best person in the history of politics to help get out the vote. His name is Donald Trump, and he inspires people unlike any politician or candidate ever in the history of the country. And then we said, all right, it's our job to protect the ballot. And the way that we have gone about doing that is putting together the most aggressive and comprehensive election integrity operation in the history of politics. And we thought that we would put a lofty goal out for ourselves of around 100,000 people to train as poll watchers, poll workers, and legal experts. That means people in the room every time a vote is cast and counted in the tabulation centers where the mail-in votes come in the actual polling locations, and making sure, of course, we have attorneys, legal experts who are going to be there if there's a question about anything. We said 100,000 feels like a lot, but we're going to put it out there and we're going to see what happens. And as you just said, 250,000 people have been trained in this program, and we're still doing trainings right now up until Tuesday because we can never have too many people, and we've been so excited about the response that the American people have truly had to this. And what that means is that in all of our battleground states, like North Carolina, we're going to have at least 5,000, if not more, volunteers to be poll watchers and poll workers, and 500 legal experts, attorneys, they're in these voting locations, in the tabulation centers, on the ground throughout the duration of early voting and, of course, all the way through Election Day. And I hope that people are feeling the difference. We have also responded to any questions that people have had out there. I know people send me videos or posts all the time out there. Anything that looks questionable, we send somebody to investigate it. We have a team that directly deals with this all day, every day. And we've been able to rectify issues already during this process. So we're very proud of what we've seen happen. And I just hope that after 2024, people feel like we have free, fair, and transparent elections once again. And we're making sure that every legal vote is counted, and only legal votes are counted in this election.
Well said, like a very strong woman who that President Trump surrounds himself with, despite.
Wait, well, weren't we told he doesn't do that?
Oh, I heard that he only puts weak women around him.
Exactly.
Apparently, Mark Cuban had something to say about that this week. But obviously, listening to what you had just laid out and the amazing things that you have done, strong woman, and I'm very, very proud of you for being able to continue this work that you're doing.
And Madam Chairwoman, out of curiosity,
thank you.
Obviously we were talking about North Carolina, but you are traveling, the nation from coast to coast right now. What are you seeing in places? We hear a lot of focus that, the election really come down to Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona, maybe Nevada. What are you seeing in those battleground states right now on the ground, and how are you feeling about those?
Yeah, I just got back earlier this week. I was in Nevada. I was in Arizona. And you're right. I mean, I travel all over all the time. I got to tell you guys, it is very much the same energy as I felt in 2016, but bigger. And what I mean by that is that it's really palpable out there. It doesn't matter where I go. I travel constantly on airplanes, in restaurants, gas stations, everywhere I go, people are coming up to me. And the difference this time versus 2016 is people are getting loud about it now. In 2016, a lot of people would come up and they kind of whisper to me, oh, we're voting for Donald Trump. This time around, they're very excited to come up and talk to me. And they tell me how many of their friends and family who may have voted previously for Democrats, maybe even in 2016 and 2020, have now seen the light and are now voting for Donald Trump. And I think basically what I hear from so many people is, we can't afford to do anything but that. The reason that a lot of these folks have kind of changed their mind and are now abandoning the Democrat Party is because they say, look, I got tricked. I got bamboozled. I certainly fell for it with the Hollywood endorsements, with the mainstream media talking points. But what I've seen and what I've felt in my life has been so bad that now I realize how great a president Donald Trump was and why we desperately need to have him back in the White House. So what I'll tell you is, we've seen these great early voting numbers here in North Carolina. We're seeing those in other swing states as well. In Nevada, I think we've really been impressed by the in-person early voting. We are far outpacing the Democrats there. And we all know that traditionally Republicans wait until Election Day to get out and vote. So if we maintain these numbers for the next 3 days and then on Election Day have our usual turnout of people, which we actually really believe is going to happen, this is going to be an incredible night. It is going to be a map that is very reminiscent, I think, of Ronald Reagan's. But we're not going to take our foot off the gas. We're going to keep pushing forward every step of the way, and we're not going to stop until this thing is locked up and done on November 5th.
Great summary. Absolutely. Well, we want to be cognizant of your time. I know that you have got a lot of traveling on the road to do today and a lot of people to meet. Thank you so much for joining us today, and really do appreciate your time and all the work you're doing for the Republican Party and getting President Trump reelected.
Oh, thank you, guys. Get out and vote, everybody.
Absolutely.
All right, great. Thank you. That was Chairwoman Lara Trump of the National Republican Committee. We will be right back.
Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
The WSIC app is available now wherever you get your apps, featuring local deals from great local businesses like Greystone Lodge in Boone.
Cakes and cookies, toys and gifts. The Southern Christmas Show, November 14th through 24th at the Park Expo and Conference Center. Save on tickets at southernchristmasshow.com, courtesy of Craft Body Scan. The Southern Christmas Show.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. Boatyard Eats in Cornelius presents live entertainment Friday and Saturday nights. 70s rock revival Troubadour Project takes the stage at 8:30 Friday night, while 80s tribute band The Breakfast Club headlines Saturday show along with DJ Wheels. Visit boatyardlkn.com for tickets, details, and show information. The 21st annual Statesville Pumpkin Festival is Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come join the community in historic downtown Statesville with 2 stages of live entertainment: the Classic Car Cruise-In, Kids Zone, pumpkin activities, and vendors. The Statesville Pumpkin Festival is truly a fall festival for the entire family. Stick around at 5:30 p.m. for the after party with Uptown dueling pianos. For more information, visit statesvillepumpkinfest.com. We'll see you Saturday in downtown Statesville for the annual Pumpkin Festival. The Dirt Track at Charlotte Motor Speedway presents the World of Outlaws World Finals beginning on November 6th and continuing through the 9th. Catch Dirt Racing's top 3 series for 4 days of action to decide their championships, featuring the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series, the World of Outlaws Late Model Series, and the Super Dirt Car Big Block Modifieds. Single day and 4-day ticket packages and camping information are all available at charlottemotorspeedway.com. Often imitated, never duplicated, the World of Outlaws World Finals invade the Charlotte Motor Speedway Dirt Track in November. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
The Renaissance Festival is back, Saturdays and Sundays, now through November 24th. Non-stop shop at Giant Crafts Market. Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
Now back to We're Just Saying with North Carolina Senator Vicky Sawyer on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back to We're Just Saying on WSIC News Radio with Senator Vicky Sawyer and David. Like to be part of the show, 844 Studio 4. We are still streaming live on the WSIC News app, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and YouTube. What a cool guest to have to kick off the show.
And you performed well under pressure, my friend.
I do my when our backs are against the wall,
Yeah.
and we got to come out strong. I do well under pressure. I do.
You nailed the opening. You had great questions.
Well,
you didn't stutter.
Well, and I was actually
like,
putting effort in. Normally, when I'm just coasting. Normally, when we're in here, I don't really bring my full A game when we're in here.
I will say, at least you weren't on your phone while you were talking to Lara Trump, so that was impressive.
Well, I'm a multitasker. I'm a multitasker.
I don't hate your game. I'm just saying. I was impressed that you nailed the opening. You had great questions, and what a great guest. And guys, if you like what you heard with Lara, she will be in Mooresville off Raleigh School Road at the Lake Norman Fire Department starting at 11:45 today to 1:15. I'm going to tell you what, Trump is everywhere in North Carolina.
He was here earlier this week.
Well, and Vivek was here in Charlotte in a garbage truck.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
That was pretty hilarious, I'll have to say. I really have to say.
I love it.
I love it. Look, there has never been any question, regardless of anything else about President Trump, his troll game is on point.
Yes.
I mean, he absolutely control another person. He's got a black belt in it. From the McDonald's thing,
yes.
Going to McDonald's. I've now worked here I've been here 15 minutes, and I've worked here longer than Kamala Harris did. To when Joe Biden called all Trump supporters garbage.
Garbage. Wait. Did you hear the garbage cover from the comms team from the Biden?
Oh, it was weak
like
sauce.
He needed to put an apostrophe. He just, mumbled through because of his stutter. He really meant that it was, one supporter of Trump that was garbage, not the entire half of the nation.
Here's the thing. I had a stutter when I was a kid.
Did
Okay,
you?
I did. I had a stutter. It wasn't as pronounced as allegedly Joe Biden's was, because basically his stutter has been debilitating him all through his entire life, even though he doesn't have it anymore.
Right.
And so obviously that his stutter is what called him to say. And I'm sorry, there was no stutter. It was like, he said Trump support. He said they are garbage. He said supporters are garbage. I mean, there's the English language the rules of the English language do not go away because you have a stutter.
You know what the best part of the whole thing is? Well, there's so many wonderful parts. One of the best parts of the whole thing is he was trying to slam Trump, having that comedian talking about that, Puerto Rico joke. And in the meantime, he completely flipped the narrative from a comedian who had an off-color joke, that's what they do for a living, about Puerto Rico, to calling half of America garbage, while Kamala was on the White House lawn trying to do another like bringing America together moment.
Her closing argument is what they framed it as.
I'm pretty sure that when this is all over, Trump needs to take Biden out for a wonderful meal.
Yeah, he really
and
does.
Just thank him, because I mean,
well, we've talked about it before. Joe Biden is a vindictive individual.
Yeah.
He always has been. I mean, there has been this rewrite of who he is because he's old and senile now. Joe Biden has always been obnoxious. He has always been vindictive. He has always been a pathological liar. He has always been a plagiarist. He is not some wonderful person throughout the course of it. And I think that Jill Biden, his wife, is completely just angry. I mean, there's an Axios story this week about the conflict between Team Biden and Team Harris and how they're not getting along. He does not, you will never convince me he wants her to win. He does not want her to win. He wants her to lose so that the narrative could be, well, if they'd have just left me alone and left me on the ballot, I could have won. And the timing of all of his comments, the things that he says, those are, even though he is senile, those are not indicative of someone who wants their vice president to win. They're simply not. But again, go back to the garbage comment.
Okay.
And this is not like a new take or anything like that. You see it on this one. Democrats, by and large, do believe what they say. Hillary called Trump supporters deplorable. Biden has called them garbage. Kamala has referenced Trump supporters and Trump as fascists and Hitler. Mark Cuban this week said that Trump does not surround himself with strong, intelligent women. Liberals in their minds firmly believe there is a segment of our country that is too stupid and too uneducated to govern their own lives. That's why they need big brother government. That's why they need mommy government to come in and take care of their health care, to take care of their education, to take care of their housing, to keep them, to save them from themselves. That is a fundamental tenet of the liberal Democratic Party. And it has been, and because of social media and because cameras are everywhere, now they don't just say it behind closed doors. It slips out in the open and it gets out there. You can try to explain it away all you want. This is who they are. This is what they believe.
You are on fire today, my friend.
We're getting towards election day. I gotta get everything out now, because once election day's back, we're kind of back to the regular stuff.
We should take that segment and section that out and rebroadcast this over and over and over again. That is the basic difference between Republicans and Democrats. And Democrats do think that folks are not smart enough. And you said a segment. I would have said that they probably think most of the people, other than
the ones that come to their cocktail parties and go to their schools.
The limousine liberals.
Yes.
Limousine liberals think that everyone else is too stupid or incapable to help themselves to achieve the American dream, and they only can do that through social welfare programs and through socialism, and that will lead to communism. I mean, it is absolutely the election of our lifetime. Get out and vote. Get out and support President Trump. Vote all the way down the ballot. And I am excited because we're going to hear more of this come election night.
Yes.
We're going to bring this show to you from 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. on election night in the studios live. We're going to have some special guests, and we are going to talk about early voting. Now, remember, in North Carolina, the early vote, which is what? Gosh, I just had the numbers up. It's over half of folks have actually early voted.
Yeah, I think we're close to 40% or something.
Yeah,
like
I have it somewhere, and I'll look it up here. But the deal is that you get those early vote tabulations about 7:30 to 8 o'clock. So if over half of the eligible people because you never have 100% turnout.
No, never.
I think last elections, they were in the 70% turnout, and that was a high turnout election. So you can arguably say over half or to 60% of those who are going to vote have already voted. So the election possibly will be decided, and you will know those information as soon as the early vote tabulations come out.
Oh, absolutely. And we'll be covering that here on WSIC News from
Yeah.
7 to 9. We'll have Representative Jeff McNeely with us. We'll have former Representative Jason Sayin, who still has his show on WSIC News. We'll have
You're
some
going to
folks
bring
calling
all
in.
the stars of the WSIC
Exactly.
family
The A-team,
back to one.
Exactly. The A-team of the WSIC
Yeah.
News political team
Yes.
will be here, part of it, and Jeff McNeely. So it will be...
No truer words have been spoken.
We'll have a great time. But back to Trump.
Trump being in town.
But he was in town in Rocky Mount.
So I've just been really busy with life and elections and everything. And it dawned on me that I had yet to attend a Trump rally. And I really wanted to go to a Trump rally. And so this week I realized that he was going to be in Rocky Mount. Now, Rocky Mount is just east of Raleigh. And I didn't know that at that time that he was also going to plan. And you guys, if you are like me and you haven't been to a rally and you want to see the man in person, you have an opportunity to go to Gastonia on Saturday. He will be there, and then in Greensboro on, I think, Saturday afternoon, and then also in Kinston, North Carolina on Sunday. I mean, the Trump folks are everywhere in North Carolina. So
They are.
I got myself in the car, and I drove to Rocky Mount, and I went to a Trump rally, and it was fabulous. The energy was great. The people were awesome. He was great. You know, I've seen him talk in person a few times, but this time when you sit there and listen to him unedited, he does have some comedic timing.
He does
That's
have
really
comedic
good.
timing. He's a great entertainer. He
I
really
can
is.
see how so many people, like, when media like clips certain areas and they just replay or certain things and just replay it over and over and over again. Well, they didn't get the joke, right? I mean, he's just got the joke. Do yourself a favor. Go to when he is describing, I think it was in Wisconsin, about him having to get into the garbage truck. That is the funniest, like, 2 minutes.
It was a big step. It was a huge step.
It was a huge step. I didn't want to have a Biden moment. I had to get up there. But man, he and that team are on fire for North Carolina. And also remember, Lara Trump is from North Carolina, as well as Michael Whatley. Both of them are leading our national committee for Republicans. And we are just on the battleground states. And for all their work, it's showing it's good, but it's still tight in North Carolina.
Yeah, it is. And, I think that, I think there are telltale signs that North Carolina is very nearly firmly in the Trump column because
Can I do something? Can I give you, first of all, I've already interrupted you. So
that's
I can't
okay.
ask for
It's your
that.
show. It's your show.
It's our show, David. It's our
Well, it's only
show.
your face on the banner. So
We need to change that.
no, we
need
don't.
to
No,
change
trust me when I
that.
tell you, nobody wants to see my mug on that thing.
Well, I have a conspiracy.
Okay.
Okay. Backed by other conspiracies. I really think that.
Is that like 2 negatives make a positive?
Uh-huh.
2 conspiracy backed by a
Yeah.
conspiracy makes it true?
Uh-huh. Yeah. Just look at social media. So I think the polling is a lot better for Trump in North Carolina than what they're reporting.
I agree.
But pollsters have gotten their lunch handed to them the last 2 presidential elections by being so far off the mark. And I think they are messing with the numbers a little bit to make it look like it's more narrow than it is, because they really just don't know.
I agree, and I think I always like anecdotal evidence a little bit better when you're looking at political campaigns than I do with polls. And earlier this week, the Harris campaign pulled their ad buys out of North Carolina. The campaign excuse was, "Oh, we had overbought or oversaturated North Carolina." In a political campaign, there's no such thing.
Correct,
okay?
especially when you have like $50 million one day.
Exactly.
I mean, they got
exactly.
tons of money.
But it said they pulled it out and they put it into Virginia.
That's great.
That should tell you the Kamala Harris campaign has problems. If
Yeah.
they are having to bolster buys in Virginia, then something's going on. You're listening to We're Just Saying on WSIC News Radio. We'll be right back.
Stay with us. We'll have more of We're Just Saying with NC Senator Vicki Sawyer after this short break on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, some extra clouds for our Friday, but most of us will get out dry as temperatures climb back into those upper 70s for the afternoon. We'll stay mild, only dropping down to around 60 in the overnight hours. Our weekend is a little cooler with those 70s for Saturday and a few extra clouds. Maybe a sprinkle in the morning, but much cooler with highs in the upper 60s for Sunday. That's your forecast. For the WSIC Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Folks, here at Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville, we have got the brand new 2025 Chevrolet Traverse in stock, all redesigned from front to back, top to bottom, inside and out. Come see them today. We have got a great selection of these new Traverses ready for you to take home. And also, we got great discounts on our Silverado trucks. We got the regular cab, crew cab, double cabs, discounted up to $9,000 off. Great selection, Randy Marion Chevrolet in Statesville, right on I-40.
The Statesville Family YMCA reminds you that older adults and those with chronic health conditions don't need to feel they must accept impaired balance and limited mobility. Build strength, improve balance, and gain confidence in your mobility through the Moving for Better Balance program. For questions and additional information, email C. Mullins at ymcanwnc.org.
So this new dose is, nope, that's not it. The price is nowhere to be found.
Mr. Green? Hi, it's all good. We've got this.
This is not just help from a Walgreens pharmacist.
Oh, new prescriptions. Cool. Let me check to see if these are the lowest cost options covered by your Medicare plan.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
This is someone supporting you every step of the way. Chat with a pharmacist today to find help saving. This is the human kind of help. Walgreens.
An official message from Medicare.
Medicare plans change from one year to the next. And this year, it's important for you to review your current coverage and compare all your options during Medicare open enrollment. Compare health plans, drug coverage, and costs. See if you can save some money, and don't forget to make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. It's pretty much all systems go for Amazon. The company's results from last quarter show strong growth in all its major divisions. Its AWS cloud business showed greater than forecast revenue growth, bouncing off a weak year. Its legacy e-commerce division, which sputtered out of the pandemic, increased sales by double digits. And its fast-growing advertising business increased revenue thanks in part to the political ads you're no doubt sick of seeing at this point. Shares of Amazon up 7%. Stock in a major maker of weight loss drugs is bulking up today. Shares of Novo Nordisk up 8% after a late-stage trial showed its GLP-1 treatment Wegovy helped treat obesity-associated liver disease. Wegovy's active ingredient resolved liver disease in 63% of patients and improved liver fibrosis in 37%. Today's far weaker than forecast October employment report is helping spark a Wall Street rally on more ammunition for Fed Reserve rate cuts. Dow, NASDAQ, S&P 500 each gaining 1%. Andrew O'Day, Bloomberg Radio.
Now more We're Just Saying with North Carolina Senator Vicky Sawyer on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
Welcome back to We're Just Saying on WSIC News Radio with Senator Vicky Sawyer and David. I'd like to be part of the show, 844 Studio 4. We are still streaming live on the WSIC News app, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and YouTube. So we ended the segment talking a little bit about the money that is being pulled out of North Carolina by the Harris campaign, but we got a lot of money in North Carolina. The campaign finance reporting from July to October has come out, and some interesting numbers in there.
Yeah, so a couple things we want to talk about the governor's race, and I think this is no surprise to anybody, but Attorney General Josh Stein raised about $44 million.
That's
and
crazy.
spent 59.3, which makes sense. It's, he's been fundraising for years, so it's not like he.
Well, and also he had money in the. I mean, it can in those reports he had money in the bank prior to July, as did Mark Robinson. And they have money in the bank prior to this reporting period, so he's not like going into hock or anything like that.
Yeah,
with the spending he had money prior to that.
Right, but the tough thing for us is that since he could let up a little bit on the gas against Mark Robinson because the polling is so bad, he was able to put about $11 million into North Carolina legislative.
And that's
campaigns.
a lot of money into a legislative campaign.
It is,
That's
especially when we only have several districts that are highlighted that are extremely competitive or what's considered a swing district. So it's not like 11 million over 120 House races and 50 Senate races. It's like 11 million into council state races and also those target Wake, Meck areas, Wilmington, those kind of swing district races there. So that's been a really, really tough thing for us to do. And then, of course, Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson, he raised $4 million in that same time period and spent about $10 million during the same. So definitely a lopsided fundraising, and I think Mark Robinson's commercials have been off the air for a while now, unless he's starring in some of Josh Stein's commercials. So you've seen Mark, but you haven't seen there.
Yeah, the
But
Josh Stein commercials really, I think, I have not seen him say any. I think every single Josh Stein ad I have seen has been about abortion.
yeah,
I don't think I have seen a single ad run, or negative ad that wasn't about abortion.
and that's a federal. So I think I told you a couple weeks ago that the Associated Press had reached out through the GOP, and I responded to them, and that's all they wanted to talk about. And they just have this like federal narrative that everything's about abortion, everything's about abortion. And I keep retorting back. I'm like, guys, not everything is about abortion. It's about the things that are affecting my young children's lives. Is like, now that they're graduating college, they can't afford somewhere to live. They cannot start on their own. They can't go out and have freedom of entertainment and lifestyle because they are strapped with gas.
Yeah.
And
thus I am now strapped with their gas and
Yes.
with their living and with their groceries. And so it's like, it's impacting me as well.
Yes, I know. Thankfully, you get paid so well on this radio station. I'm sure that it will.
Exactly.
it will
If I didn't have
absolutely-
my income from here, I just don't know how I could make ends meet.
Well, but interesting enough, so we know we've talked about how, in the governor's race that Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson isn't polling very well, so we can talk about that. But there was something other that came out that was very interesting. This is a tweet by Brian Anderson. That's at Brian R. Anderson. And he showed that the Elon poll that 2/3 of Republican voters are aware of the news reports of explicit posts from Robinson, but they're just but 2 or 5 are going to vote for him anyways. Well, let me go back. Sorry about that. I had it. But it seems like they know that it's there, but they're still going to vote for him.
Yeah, and I think that's not a shock,
Mhm.
right? It's probably higher than 2 of 5
Mhm.
to believe it. Because and we see this in our circles and things like that.
Mhm.
In spite of the allegations, in spite of the shortcomings and things like that of any candidate,
Right.
Politics is tribal. People come back
Right.
home. I mean, I've
They
got
do.
an uncle who is dyed-in-the-wool Democrat, liberal as the day is long. Love him to death. We get along great. But
Yeah.
he made the comment one time, if Charles Manson was the Democratic nominee for president, he'd still vote for him. And so, I mean, and I think a lot of people have that mindset is that the quality of the candidate, maybe not so much when it ultimately comes down,
you're in war.
it's the letter next to the name.
Yeah.
And and there are people that believe that, and I don't begrudge people that
Right.
or anything like that, but I think it behooves us, and you and I have talked about this before on this show, to make sure that in the primary, when the quality of the candidate really, really, really ought to be on the table, and
Mhm.
really serious vetting, serious consideration as to who we are looking to put forward as our nominee in a general election, we as Republicans have to do a better job
Agree.
of picking our candidates and picking who can ultimately come in and win a general election, because you can win a primary by by catering to a certain segment of your base, be it Republican or Democrat. It's very difficult to win a general election.
I brought that tweet up too because it just is interesting to me. Like when you and I were first going into politics, I remember certain scandals that would just bust up a presidential campaign, like a John Edwards, North
Mhm.
Carolina, right? With the affair and
Cal
certain
Cunningham in the last one.
right. And now it's like people. I think. Do you think people are desensitized to scandal around politicians, and that moving forward that is not going to make a difference anymore? I mean,
I would say that a large portion of the dedicated base of each party, and even some into the more maybe not agree with the party on 100%, but I'm 80% there, 70, still
Yeah.
reliably Republican, reliably Democrat. I think, yes, desensitized to the scandal, probably really don't care. I think there is a movable group
Right, that's
of
fair.
undecided voters
Yeah.
who are not single issue voters, who seriously look at a candidate, who seriously look at their pocketbooks, the issues that are affecting them, and stuff like that. I do believe that things like scandals, do sway them. I
Yeah.
really do. But I think in large part, if you're looking at the reliable, base of the Republican, reliable base of the Democrat, don't care. Don't care one bit about a scandal or character shortcomings, what have you. It is and it's like, I think a lot of people are getting to the point where it's kind of like, who hasn't had an affair, right? It's like who hasn't been caught,
Yeah, that's not- yeah.
who hasn't been
Ugh.
caught cheating on their taxes, who hasn't been caught,
Yeah.
this. It's like, it's more important about the now, right? And who's going to be sitting in the office. And I do think that there's, in large times, there's a desensitization, if that's a word. If that's a
We'll
word.
make it a word.
We'll make it a word.
Yeah,
Exactly. We
why
can
not?
invent words.
Yeah.
I do think there is a component of that in
Yeah.
our politics today.
Yeah, that's just interesting to me. And I guess that's the beauty of age. You can look back over time and relay personal experiences and see how things are changing. One thing that isn't changing is money's important in politics. And so let's look at some of those council of state races. On those same campaign reports from July to October, for the lieutenant governor race, Senator Rachel Hunt came in at 3.4 million, and Hal Weatherman at 1.6 million. And then probably the hottest race, I think, oh my gosh, it's such a lawyer race, by the way. Attorney General Jeff Jackson versus for Attorney General, Congressman Jeff Jackson battling Congressman Dan Bishop.
Yeah.
And this is why I say it so lawyerly. It seems like every time an ad's out, then one campaign sends a letter to the other campaign,
Yeah.
who sends a letter to threaten to sue
For
to the other
defamation,
campaign.
yeah.
It's like, welcome to my life in the General Assembly. When all the lawyers getting in the room, it's just like letter war. It's just a
Exactly.
letter war. Like, good grief.
Well, and the whole
but-
thing about it, it's all for show.
I
Okay, it is
know.
all for show. And again, regardless of, I support Dan Bishop.
I
I
do
want
too.
him to win. I have no problem with attorneys or anything like that. But the sending the letters of the campaign is strictly to get you a headline. Such and such threatens defamation suit. The ability, and any decent lawyer will tell you, the ability to prove defamation in a political case is next to impossible.
Right.
It really is. And the whole thing about it, by the time it's litigated, the election's over.
Well, just ask
It
Jim
doesn't
O'Neill.
matter.
Yeah.
Exactly. So really, it's more about, getting a headline, getting a tweet, getting something out there.
Mhm.
At this stage in the game, every candidate has, is bordering on exhaustion. They are
Yeah.
running to the finish line. They're going on fumes. They're throwing everything at the wall they possibly can in
Mhm.
order to try to get over the finish line, get the last few persuadables that are out there. And so it's just it's political gamesmanship. I get it, but it's a waste of paper to be fair with you, and especially for lawsuits that are likely never going to be filed,
Yeah.
right? And if they are filed, they will make little to no difference in the end.
Right, right. Well, so we will see. It's not uncommon in North Carolina for Democrats to out fundraise Republicans,
They consistently out fundraise,
but we still continue to win because we're just better.
Well, yeah. Well, we
I
have
mean,
a
we
better
just-
message.
we have a better
We have a better
message,
message,
right.
And at some point in time, money becomes,
If you don't have a good
if
candidate,
you don't have a good
message,
candidate, there's
then
only
money's-
so much money can cover.
Right.
If you don't have a good candidate with a good message, a candidate who resonates, who's hitting and targeting correctly in the right districts,
Mhm.
in the right areas at the right time, money's not going to make up for that
No,
at the end of the day.
No, it's not. And then it's proven over and over and over again.
Oh,
So,
100%. I mean,
yeah.
and I do think that AG race is the one I'm really,
Oh, I'm
really
so nervous.
focused on. I do not like Jeff Jackson. I've never liked TikTok
Yeah.
star Jeff Jackson.
No.
And so I really, really pulling hard for Dan Bishop to be able to pull that out, because we need a Republican AG who will actually enforce the laws our General Assembly files.
100%.
You're listening to We're Just Saying on WSIC News Radio. We'll be right back.
We'll return with more of NC Senator Vicky Sawyer, and We're Just Saying after this short break on 105.9, 100.7 WSIC.
Well, some extra clouds for our Friday, but most of us will get out dry. Temperatures climb back into those upper 70s for the afternoon. We'll stay mild, only dropping down to around 60 in the overnight hours. Our weekend is a little cooler with low 70s for Saturday and a few extra clouds. Maybe a sprinkle in the morning, but much cooler with highs in the upper 60s for Sunday. That's your forecast for the WSIC Weather Center. I'm meteorologist Chase Myers.
Cakes and cookies, toys and gifts. The Southern Christmas Show, November 14th through 24th at the Park Expo and Conference Center. Save on tickets at southernChristmasShow.com, courtesy of Kraft Body Scan.
The Southern Christmas Show.
Here's your WSIC community calendar. Boatyard Eats in Cornelius presents live entertainment Friday and Saturday nights. 70s Rock Revival Troubadour Project takes the stage at 8:30 Friday night, while 80s tribute band The Breakfast Club headlines Saturday show along with DJ Wheels. Visit boatyardlkn.com for tickets, details, and show information. The 21st Annual Statesville Pumpkin Festival is Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come join the community in historic downtown Statesville with 2 stages of live entertainment. The Classic Car Cruisin', Kid Zone, pumpkin activities, and vendors. The Statesville Pumpkin Festival is truly a fall festival for the entire family. Stick around at 5:30 p.m. for the after party with Uptown dueling pianos. For more information, visit statesvillepumpkinfest.com. We'll see you Saturday in downtown Statesville for the annual Pumpkin Festival. The Dirt Track at Charlotte Motor Speedway presents the World of Outlaws World Finals beginning on November 6th and continuing through the 9th. Catch Dirt Racing's top 3 series for 4 days of action to decide their championships, featuring the World of Outlaws Sprint Car Series, the World of Outlaws Late Model Series, and the Super Dirt Car Big Block Modifieds. Single day and 4-day ticket packages and camping information are all available at charlottemotorspeedway.com. Often imitated, never duplicated, the World of Outlaws World Finals invade the Charlotte Motor Speedway Dirt Track in November. To keep up with all the events happening around the community and much more, including amazing local deals, download the WSIC News app today.
The Renaissance Festival is back Saturdays and Sundays, now through November 24th. Non-stop shop at Giant Crafts Market. Tickets available online only at renfestinfo.com while supplies last.
It's We're Just Saying with North Carolina Senator Vicky Sawyer on 105.9 100.7 WSIC. Local starts here.
Welcome back to We're Just Saying on WSIC News Radio with Senator Vicky Sawyer and David. Like to be part of the show, 844 Studio 4. We are still streaming live on the WSIC News website and app and social media.
And
all other
hey,
things.
I wanted to say thank you to our very own homespun news media, Iredell Free News, and Mike Berman over there. They do a great job. And if you are in Iredell County, you want to know what's going on, go to Iredell Free News and subscribe. It's a daily newsletter that gives you everything it pops up in your email, just great news. But they were actually published a story about something I'm very proud of for me and the women in Raleigh who are elected. Representative Julia Howard was so kind and tapped me on the shoulder to take over the Republican Women's Caucus. And so our job is to raise money while we're in Raleigh, and then we use that money to support women who are in tough races, like Representative Erin Perret or Representative Tricia Cotham, or some new folks out there like Stacey McGinn and Ashley Adams, who are trying to be in the Senate and both on the House side as well. And so that's our job, is to support one another. Kind of feel like we're like a little sorority of elected women up there, and try to support others who want to be elected. And we were so grateful for the folks. We had a huge breakfast at the beginning of session this year. We redoubled, almost tripled the fundraising amount we've ever had before. I was grateful to do that. And then we raised nearly $150,000. And then we were able to support women across North Carolina who are trying to get elected. And so it's important to us to support one another, to move through. There's just a few of us Republican women who are serving in the state legislature, and we'd like to see those numbers grow, but not at the expense of any one candidate or man, but just at helping women. Because guys, if you are a female, Republicans, we know what that means, and you want to run for office, there's just a little bit extra nudge that we need, because I think, like, when men want to run, there's like statistics or political statistics. When a man only needs to be asked one time before he'll put his name on the ballot, a woman needs to be asked 7 times before she puts her name on the ballot.
I think it took 13 for you.
I think
it was at least 13 for you, I think.
I remember you, my friend. I always, tell everybody when I introduce them to you that you are the reason why we got stuck with Senator Sawyer because it was you and a few other.
You're welcome, Iredell.
You and a few other folks got together and you had to nudge me to put my name on the ballot. So the same thing is we want to get qualified folks in, and women really do well in swing districts and around the suburban areas because they make up so much part of that vote and they can relate to those voters. I think that's why you see the Tricia Cothams and the Erin Perez and the Stacey McGinns and those folks who are in those suburban areas we so desperately need that representation. So that's a good goal. And thank you, folks who are listening out of Raleigh who supported me and helped me get that success in fundraising. Looking forward to it next year. So we'll be calling along with Representative Balcom and Representative Celeste Carnes, and we will be starting our women's breakfast next, gosh, it'll be just a couple months.
Yeah. January kicks off the new session.
Yeah.
So you'll be right back at it again.
Yep. And you know what else is in January?
My birthday.
That's right.
Yes. President Trump will be inaugurated for the second time on my birthday.
The 20th.
The 20th.
You know why I remember that?
Why?
Not because it's your birthday.
Because I just told you?
Because I was like, I missed out on President Trump's inauguration the first time around, and I would really like to go the second time around.
Absolutely.
So I spent a good part of, the other day looking for hotel rooms in D.C. to go so that I could watch the inauguration of President Trump.
There's not
so
a one to be
silly.
had.
I'm like, I bet you those things were booked a year ago.
Oh, easily.
I just
yeah,
was
you're
like,
not getting a room at
duh.
this stage. It's kind of like if you decided you want to take your kids on the Polar Express up in Bryson City, on December 1st. Yeah, you're not getting in.
No.
Tickets went a long time ago. Same
Yes.
with the inauguration. But there's other ways you can get up there. I mean, I'm sure that you can get an Airbnb for $10,000 a night up there. Because that's everything's market driven, right, and demand driven. But so going in. So Tuesday's election day.
Tuesday's
election
Now
day.
remember, guys, I know a lot of you because we have very, very educated listeners. But remember, during early voting, you can vote anywhere within your county that is an early voting site. But on election day, make a plan because you have to vote in your home precinct. So that means you can go on to your the North Carolina State Board of Elections website or your local Iredell Mecklenburg County website, and you can do this thing. It says NC Voter Lookup. You put your name, David, your last name, Coble, and it will pull up your voter registration, and it will tell you where your voting site is. So go ahead and make a plan. It is so important because Chairwoman Trump was exactly right. Life happens. Lines happen. And it is so important that each and every person vote. Remember, it was not too long ago that only 401 votes separated our Supreme Court Justice for Paul Newby from Sherry Berry.
Sherry Beasley.
Sherry Beasley. I was laughing because I don't know if you've seen it lately, but Sherry Berry's Twitter is on fire.
Oh.
She is funny.
I absolutely love her Twitter.
Yeah, I know. She had this great tweet yesterday. I was sitting there thinking. So, anyways, 401 votes separated a statewide race that basically changed the direction of our courts for the better towards constitutional justices. And so make sure you make a plan. Now, you can vote today in early voting and tomorrow in early voting. Make sure, just go ahead and get it out of the way. Like President Trump said, like Chairwoman Trump said, go ahead and just get it out of the way. That way you don't have to worry about long lines or, a doctor's appointment that just happened up or, a car accident that you can't get in there because life is difficult. But your vote is so important. It is so important.
And I know we had talked about earlier, in a couple after the hurricane went through and Western North Carolina was hit so bad, people being getting out to vote, but early voting numbers up there have been fantastic.
Correct.
People have been getting out to vote. Access to voting has been great. So, kudos to the folks there in the area, as well as many folks from the Republican Party who went up there to make sure that, to scout precinct locations,
Yeah.
help find new ones if there were any that were washed out. So Western North Carolina coming out big to vote, which is good for President Trump.
Yeah, it is. And they are voting just about on par, actually 1% better than 2020. But think about this. They had a lot worse time in 2024 than they did 4 years ago. But if those folks can make the time to go out and vote because they know how important it is, especially having to deal with FEMA and the frustrations with the government, then you who live in our listening audience can make sure that you can do the same because it is just that important.
Absolutely, 100%. So so before we get out of here, predictions. Okay. So,
Okay.
who's going to win North Carolina?
President Trump,
Yes.
I'm going to say by 7 points.
By 7 points. Really? So that's if that's happening, then something big is going on. Absolutely, and I'll take it.
I
do think.
see. I mean, look. I mean, I'm sorry to interrupt. I
No.
know we just have a few moments, but if you look at the 2020 numbers of those who have voted already, Republicans and unaffiliateds are way up, and Democrats are down by like 300,000. So unless they come out on election day, then if we can continue to keep this up. Yeah, 7 points. Now I
Okay.
may be way off, but
Well, I mean, I'll take
why
it.
not? I mean,
Yeah.
what hurts to
Go
dream?
big, go big or go home.
Does it
right?
right?
Go
Yeah,
big or go
it doesn't
home.
hurt to dream.
I agree. I think Trump will win. I've been saying I've thought that going in. I thought he would win against Joe Biden. Thought he would win against Hillary. And I think he'll win North Carolina again. I think it'll be closer to probably 3 points.
Mhm.
I think which is a good margin.
Mhm.
That's actually higher than I think he won it the last 2 times.
Mhm.
About 3.5 points. I think it'd be good. I do think he wins nationally. Nevada, I am skeptical of only because like every year, it seems like every election, Republicans think, hey, we're in Nevada, and then that Harry Reid turnout machine in Las Vegas just comes in and sweeps in, and it goes
The
Democrat.
Teamsters are supporting.
Yeah, the union
internal
folks.
the
I think the
internal
no tax
polling
on
of-
tips, I think, is huge
Yeah.
for Trump. So I mean, I think you could easily see him win Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, along with North Carolina.
Do you
And
s-
I think that's a landslide.
Do you see him winning the popular vote?
Yes.
I do
I
too.
think if he wins the presidency this time, he will win the popular vote.
I do too. I absolutely do. So I think we've all known kind of like the governor doesn't look really good for our team on
It
that
doesn't.
one. The polling I think I saw, although he's making up ground, he's still like 9 to 10
Yeah.
points below. Attorney General.
I think Dan Bishop will pull that out.
I do too.
I
If
think
Trump goes
I think
big.
if Trump wins by 3 to 5%,
Yeah.
I think he pulls a lot of these council of state races along with him.
And maybe the reason why I'm so high on this and think that Trump's going to go as well is when I'm working at the polling locations, people are coming in and they're saying Republican straight ticket all the way. Like they are, and they are passionate
Yeah.
about telling me that. So maybe,
Yeah.
I mean, a girl can dream.
Yeah, I mean, that'll be the one that I'm really, really watching
Yeah.
on election day.
If
will be that
Trump
Attorney
comes,
General.
if Trump pulls it out, then I think the Attorney General will definitely.
Well,
go to
and
Dan
like you
Bishop.
said, we will know pretty quick what now it won't be definite, right? But we will know once the early voting numbers hit on the Board of Elections website. Overall, then we will, and the percentages there will tell a story.
And you know where to hear that first? Tune in
Exactly.
to
'cause
this radio station.
We will have the stuff up. You don't need to worry about refreshing your computer or anything like that. You can stream us online. You can listen to us on the radio. We will be the first ones to tell you how those numbers look,
As
because
well
we'll be
as-
sitting here hitting refresh the whole time.
Yeah, as well as having our local electeds. You know, there's a lot of folks who are going to get locally elected, like our town council. I mean, our
County commission.
Iredell County commissioners. That we'll have them come in, and so we're excited to have just a whole stem to stern review of the local politics on WSIC News.
Thank you for listening to us. Everybody have a great weekend.